Go with me across the sea where happiness is true. Welcome to Pondering in the Pasture. Today I was just sitting here thinking, well, I was moving thinking, but then I decided to sit. This channel is trying to be a way for me to express a lot of the thoughts that I've had and continue to have while I am out here taking care of the farm work. And the reason that I get a lot of these thoughts is because it can sometimes be monotonous, and I'm out here by myself, which, as an introvert, I love. But that gives a lot of empty time to fill the void. And so I end up listening to a lot of stuff, listening to a lot of podcasts, scriptures, listen to, books on tape. Age myself a little bit there, but audiobooks and things like that. Those audiobooks, podcasts, shorts, whatever it may be that I'm listening to, often will stir an idea for something for me to ponder on, to deepen my relationship with God, to deepen just general thoughts and philosophy in general. Now, I'm not a trained philosopher. I'm not a trained historian. I'm not a trained a lot of these things. But I've loved philosophy, I've loved history, and I've loved critical thinking for a very long time. So I like to exercise those to the best of my ability. Using these as jumping boards has been really helpful for me. I want to talk a little bit about why I think YouTube, Spotify, a lot of these podcast-like platforms can actually be a good start to your information journey. So first off, there's a lot of bad information all over the internet. All you have to do is Google a question, especially if it's a deep question, and you've got myriads of opinions, and some good, some bad, some absolutely horrid takes on important issues. That can be very frustrating to try and parse out the good from the bad at that time. If you're like, hey, this information seems good, but they contradict each other a whole bunch. What do I do? That could be frustrating. However, it becomes a good exercise in flexing your muscles of critical thinking to be able to try and evaluate what this person is saying versus what this person is saying. Now, it becomes very complicated in the religious world because people make claims. People make a lot of claims, a plethora of claims all over the place. And not just about their own religion, about other people's religions. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So as a member of that church, sometimes we're called Mormons, we get a lot of false claims made about us. And some of them are tropes that are trapped in the 80s. Things like, endless celestial sex, and you get your own planet. The point is sometimes people will say, and here's the source for that. And that can be very frustrating. I don't want to go. If I'm trying to work, I don't want to go on a tirade of different, I don't want to dive into this source and then this source and then this source and then this source, because that can be, it's too much. It's too much. And it's too much for a lot of people, especially because, listening to a podcast on a commute, listening to a podcast while you're doing something physical with your hands, it's nice. It's nice to have something there, but it's frustrating. So I know I'm making it sound negative, but that's kind of my point, is to look at this and to take only one video as here's the gospel truth on any subject is a problem. But podcasts, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, all these things that have so much bad information and sometimes hate have a lot of good information too. And so looking through, I don't agree with the Catholic position. However, I can go listen to say Joe Heschmeyer on Shameless Popery or Cameron Bertucci on capturing Christianity or capturing Catholicism, and learn from them what they believe. That, I think, is an important thing. It gives me a good start of, hey, this Catholic believes this thing, and they've got reasons for believing this thing. That's cool. I can start to learn that way. And then if I decide, hey, this one subject really interests me, I can then go deep dive on my own free time when I've got the ability to do so. When I'm not driving, I mean, look, if you thought texting and driving was bad, Googling and looking things up while driving is worse. So I don't have to do any of that then, but they can start to percolate in my brain, and I can start to ponder on these things, start to think critically. And then I can also go dive in at home when I have the ability to do so without it being dangerous. One subject that has perked my interest a lot is the subject of theosis in Eastern Orthodox. Because we have a doctrine in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that we call exaltation that is very similar to theosis. Now, it's different in some very important ways, but I first learned this term by listening to a podcast of Word Radio. Now, Word Radio is very pro-Mormon, pro-LDS. Love them. Cardin, you can do no wrong. My point is that I first learned about it from someone who doesn't believe in the Eastern Orthodox tradition. I'm like, oh, that can start to percolate. I can start to learn a little bit about it, and then let me dive in to people who are Eastern Orthodox. Let me look up what they have to say about it. So hopefully I'll have a video on theosis coming out eventually, where I try and evaluate those sources and look at them and ponder on some of the similarities or differences between exaltation and theosis. But you can find out some really beautiful things that people believe if you are willing to look to them and look at what take it from the horse's mouth. Take it from the horse's mouth. 1, conclusion. Podcasts can be a great place to start your information journey. 2, don't end your information journey there. Look to better sources, whether that be scholarship or from the people who believe it. And 3, be safe out there. There's a lot of hate. Learn to love. Have a great one, guys.